Hello, and welcome to the return of Buckmore, which I have to say at certain parts of the year I definitely didn't think was going to be happening again, so very glad to be back. And this was a while ago, so probably about, I don't know, last month, so in June we raced at Buckmore. Was actually okay weather. I thought at one point this was going to be a pretty wet affair, but it turned out to be pretty good as we watch Hard in front lever his way through. This thing qualifying, Richard and Brew overtook me at the start of qualifying, and I basically just tagged along with them for the whole session, just watching them, see if I get a nice sort of marker really to lay down a good lap time. And speaking of a lap time, this is the hot lap I did. So you can see we've got Richard a nice distance here, sort of reference off, hugging turn one quite tight, lifting the way in, braking hard into the first hairpin just after the tarmac change, then trying to carry as much momentum out of this left-hander, this second hairpin, which I always never seem to quite do, but we've done well there. Doesn't look like Pritchard's getting away too much. Coming into these fast corners, I love these corners, flat out through the first right, and then a dab of brake, throw it in to here, try and get close to that wall, which I actually didn't get very close, not compared to Alex anyway. Carrying a lot of speed down the bottom, up into I think this is Garda, and you can see we've gained a lot of time into that corner there, so probably gained a bit of time there, and we're in good range for a slipstream, flat out round the final corner, right in the slipstream, and that puts us, well, that lap was good enough for second on the grid out of 37 other nutters, so not bad. And yeah, so yeah, you can see now this lap has been balked up a bit. I've got sort of stuck behind, caught them up too much really, so I did have a go at getting another lap because this was quite early into qualifying, so I'll set myself up again. A bit too close to Pritchard right now, but I was hoping, say, I don't know how fast he was going, maybe he'd go for an absolute send of a lap or something and I'll be able to tow with him, so I was following through, and then if you watch to the right here, this fella just absolutely sends it on both of us, so that was the end of my quality, but we did enough. I think we're less than a tenth off pole, just taking my Amwar in the end. But yeah, second will do. This is the home circuit for me, so I done many a race around here. I was, well, back in the day, a runner-up and a champion around this circuit in the Ironman series, as it once was. I'm not sure what it's called now, but it's a very good fun series. So, it's the first race. This will be race 1 in just this video, and then next video will be race 2 as always. So, there's only a half a lap of warming up your tyres and doing all the techniques that I've learned from Super GT's videos, so weave it as much as possible. Doesn't quite look as exciting from this point of view, unfortunately, but just making sure I've got some idea what the kart feels like for when I enter turn 1, because it usually helps. But being second is actually one of the worst places to be, on the outside, because it's two right-handers straight away, and it's a long fast one, then it's a big send. Let's say into the first hairpin, which we could be in trouble for. But another thing to point out actually is before this race started, we were stuck on a grid for quite a while, so everything's pretty cold. I took that into account, but say not everyone's at the same sort of experience level, so sometimes they might forget, which may explain some of the action in this first couple of laps. But actually we start a little bit on a bend, so I don't really get a good start anyway. And you can see that is, I believe it's Pritchard? No, it's Brewer, sorry, Brewer. I get a little nudge there, you see, when I came through, so, and then into this corner we get a big hit here. Really lucky not to spin it there, as I think that's James comes through. And then here, as you can see, I get the same punt straight back into the next hairpin, which sort of pitches James round a bit, which isn't ideal. I don't think for any of those first few corners I was in control of any of the braking there, so I tried. I braked pretty early, but say I guess people behind weren't as I can't think what the word is, but thinking about the state of their tyres or their brakes when they got into those corners, so which happens. Anyway, so second down to fifth, not an ideal start, but we are now on the hunt back, trying to get back through, because this circuit I know very well, and I can usually rely on getting some decent results on this track. So look at the front three, they're not far away. Let's just try and get these moves done and try and get to where we should be. This guy in front not quite hooking up the corners as well as I'd like, so I definitely feel like I can get past him. Just got to make sure I pick the right move. Coming into here is one of my favourites. Yeah, I do it here. So you see, run the speed through and then tuck it on the inside into that corner. I wish I remember the names, but I don't. But yeah, that's a favourite overtake at the base of mine. You can really set that up well. All the fast corners I really like, so that's where I usually gain my time when I'm racing these tracks. But yeah, it's fourth, where we want to be. As you see, we do have spots of rain, and as you see also with that little jump cut there, we've already got about 5 minutes into the race. You can see Amboise still sort of in the same position. You can see the two up front, Anwar and Dan Brewer, and we're catching up to Richard Allen, I believe this is. Yeah, and he's actually a super heavyweight driver, so he is, I can't remember what the weight category is, but to be up front and say sticking with these guys is pretty good going, because Buckmore doesn't always favour having the extra ballast on, so it's not it's a very good performance for him so far, and it's taken me a long time to catch him up, so he's driving really well at the moment. Yeah, we've slowly caught him up, and so I'm just keeping tabs on the top two. I'd love to be getting there already, but they are, I think, putting away a tiny bit. But then focus on getting to third, then see what we do about the rest. Back markers always come into play around here, you know, all those sorts of things can happen, so it's not lost yet. But yeah, nice run out of hairpin 1, and hairpin 2 is a very, if you've got to say, as long as your car doesn't bog down too much, you should be able to make a move into hairpin 2, unless they're defending like hell. But this sort of point in the race, there's no point defending too hard. You just want to get going. As we throw it through the downhill S's, absolutely love that section. Just going as close to that left-hand barrier. Yeah, over the top of the crest, downhill again. And you can see that is actually Dan in front, who's actually had a mechanical failure. I can't remember what he said. I did speak to him after, but I've forgotten. I want to say carb, but I'm not sure. But yeah, it was a total failure. Like, he lost power or drive going up that hill and had to pull in, which sucks for him. Great for me, because he was on very good form, and don't know how easy it would have been to, well, be interested. If we get a bit of a wayward black car there, taking a very interesting arm, which had to take a bit of avoiding action for. Yeah, you can see sort of the gap now. I think I want to say it's about 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds to Amwell, and we've caught a little bit by this point. There's not really been much traffic to help us, but then here we get a nice helping of traffic here as Amwell gets caught behind his back marker. He doesn't quite have the right line to maybe try and use his drive or whatever to get back past. You can see him trying to switch back here to get a run on him. As you're going down to these S's now, if you look on the left hand side, I believe, yeah, so you've got the yellow flags here, and Amwell's having to now wait next to him because there's yellow flags, so you can't overtake him. Completely lost all his gap, which, as you can see, he's absolutely thrilled about. I'm sure he's very excited to see me right behind him now. But he wasn't quick to catch up, so you know we've gained a tiny bit over that time. So he still has really good pace, and he doesn't really need to worry too much. I'm not really thinking about doing anything stupid right now. We've got 17 minutes left, so if we get into a fight, you know, I don't really want to bring other people into this. I sort of want to just see where we get to. You see, we've got quite decent top speed here, or at least the slipstream's working well for us here. But just sort of sizing up, settling in. So there's no rush for anything at the moment. Skipping through another back marker now, and these back markers, if an opportunity arises because of this, Amwell absolutely nerfs him there. Really goes for the old. I mean, he is definitely a bit all over the place, that back marker, but that was a hell of a send. I've definitely done less and got worse punishment for that, so maybe he got away with that one. But yeah, so up into the final corner again. Didn't manage to make anything of that, so. Oh, I think actually did get a contact warning there, but yeah, so just tag along. So Amwell is very quick, very experienced, so sit behind him's absolutely fine by me. So then this is probably my best circuit, or at least I know a lot of the tricks of the trade for this track, so I can really usually get quite a good result out of these. I just wish you could watch it from helmet cam, because it's so much more fun to see the steering inputs and see the drifting and the sliding as you're going around all these fast corners. But yeah, scan ahead now. looking at these back markers, I think that's actually one of the same back markers he's already nerfed off once this race. I'm not sure, but yeah. Every time there's a back marker, you're sort of thinking, sensing opportunities, and one is trying to make sure you don't get killed, and then the other is to try and benefit of any awkward encounters or slightly odd lines. But it's actually us that get caught out there as Alex sneaks through. Saw him up the inside quite early on, so I just left him in space because there's no point turning in. It's just, there's a cart there, you can't really do anything with it. We're going to now sit behind. Now at this point, I was looking at where I could sort of maybe do something with one. It wasn't really anything obvious opening up, so I was pretty happy to sit with Alex in front of me as he absolutely sends it in between them there. Very cheeky manoeuvre on the back marker. But yeah, so now the way he's driving, you know, the pace he's had to. I think he must have caught up a bit. I'm pretty sure it wasn't. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he must have come back from quite far. As you see here, absolute send. I think he closed the eyes, then hit the brakes for that one. But that was a majestic lunge. Didn't quite pay off. But yeah, something like that. If that had gone in a different way, maybe I'd been through. So I'm liking the look of his aggression and hoping that I can take advantage of both of them at some point at this stage in the race. Still got a long time to go, so sizing up options, really trying to find the best manoeuvres really to pick, because I don't think I've got enough on any of them to really make a break for it. So actually forcing the manoeuvres I think would be more costly. But yeah, into turn one again. Nice fast corners. I was actually doing all the events this weekend and I was starting to feel it. So I'd done an endurance before this race, and I could by the time I got to this race, I had to say I was, well, especially the next race, I was feeling it quite a bit in the neck actually, or in the sorry, not in the neck, in the like the core, let's say. But as you see here, more back markers, and it's just that brought me back in a bit. These two slightly gapped me there, but that brought me right back into the fight again, ready to take advantage of any optimism from Alex or from Amwan in any of these scenarios. You see Amwan's defending quite hard, so he definitely fears another lunge. And so I'm just watching every manoeuvre, really seeing what can happen, because if he gets alongside, there's a good chance that I can make the most of it as well. So I'm ready to choose a lane and see who comes out first. But really close racing though. The only person that isn't here this time is Tim Clark, who's won several of the races already. Jammy Git, the one that threw tyres at me in the last video. He's not made it to this one due to this was actually scheduled to be at GYG, which is in Wales, Karting Gear, and so this has now been moved to a different date, which caught a few people out, and then also a different venue, which say may have also caught people out. So you can see Alex is really applying the pressure now, trying to find an opening, anything to try and get past. He's definitely trying everything. Oh, a little bit of contact there. Had to back out a bit, and I wasn't giving him that. So back down here into his fast S's, and yeah, sort of. If I had some popcorn now, I'd be having it. But you can't really eat popcorn with a helmet. But watching this battle, pretty fun. So best seat in the house for it. I could be the adjudicator on any lunges, and I've got all the evidence. Oh, as well, I say that as Dan, who's had a replacement cart now, and is actually, well, I think he's jumped into a bit of a rocket ship, to be honest. But he's after his earlier breakdown, he's been given another car, and well, he's absolutely flying. You can see just by the way he leapt off that corner there how much sort of speed he's got, and he's hunted down the race that he should have had, which fair play to him. I mean, he isn't actually in this race, let's say, so he's not in the fight, so I haven't obviously lost him, so I've still got my position counter as third. But it was interesting. It was an interesting moment, and say it's another person that could also get in the mix and maybe while he's in there, I can do something about it too. You can see he gets such a run on Pritchard. He gets quite far up the inside. I'm not sure how Pritchard didn't see him there. He was pretty far alongside. Maybe he's just focusing on Anwar quite a bit then. But now we take advantage of his frustration, go up the inside, and I thought I had the move done, but it turns out you can just flat out round the outside off the track. So I have to rethink my moves, I think. So, didn't quite go to plan, but still in third, so I can now put a bit more pressure on here. With Dan in the mix as well, it just adds another element of something could happen that could give me the opportunity to make another move. So we're going to keep an eye firmly on what's going ahead. There's a lot of back markers coming up, 4 back markers there, and Anwar is now defending from Dan. Not sure if he realises it's Dan yet, but I feel like he looked behind soon, he realises who it is. But then yeah, so we're going to go for the same move now as well on Alex, and I think this time the reason why he didn't go around the outside is he was setting himself up to get a cut back on Anwar, who was letting Dan through, and so I took the opportunity to get down the inside, make a bit of a block pass, and then that prevents him from getting that run again around the outside and just sending it again. So up in second, and it's looking good. This is absolute chaos right now. So just coming through all this, you know, anything could go on here. Unfortunately, you can't really see from this camera, but when I went past that back marker, he turned in on me. I was ahead in turn, but when you have a contact like that, it drags your car out wide, so the inside car understeers. As that back marker there gives Anwar a little bit of a shove as he, well, just misjudged his braking a little bit. Still 2 more back markers to go. Anwar trying the grass line there, which I don't think is effective, judging by the amount of steering input he had to put in there. Wouldn't trust putting a wheel on the grass into that bend, to be honest. Thought about a look up the inside there, but it was a bit narrow. He couldn't quite. I didn't want to commit to that, because especially with the car in front, which is the biggest issue, I think. When cars are like really close in the line, it's really difficult to slot in the gap, because of course there's no real gap to go into, so you sort of have to hope that the guy in front hasn't broke early enough that catches you out too. This was frustrating. So the back marker here, maybe he's eyeing up a move on the other back marker. I think it's Tim, as he absolutely launches one straight down the inside, which helps me out. It clears my problem. I didn't make contact with him before you think I did. I think he was feeling the move there, and bloody hell he went for it. Yeah, 3 minutes to go, and this is actually where I set my fast lap. So you've got Anwar as a reference, so you can see if I'm gaining or not, and you can see I'm probably gaining a little bit there, probably a little bit of slipstream to us helping me around that corner. You can see I'm gaining. Nice on the brakes, good on the power. I'm actually taking just a slightly defensive line, because I'm not sure where Pritchard is, because I haven't really looked. I don't know where he is, so just in case he's thinking about sending it, I'll leave my car a bit wide, throwing it in the downhill section. How close do we get to the barrier? Oh, not too bad. Definitely been closer. Carry really good momentum through here. Look how much I'm gaining on Anwar here. And then into here. Once again, taking a lot of speed in, but actually holding it quite well out. And now we're perfectly tucked in the slipstream to get a nice run all the way up this hill. That's a 46.5, so that's pretty similar, I believe, to what I did in qualifying. I actually already forgot what I did in qualifying, but that seems about the same. I feel like I did a 46.6 in qualifying. Yeah, so really good pace. I think that was, I want to say, like second or third fastest lap in this whole race. So definitely up there for speed. Just weren't quite able to put ourselves in the right position to get past Anwar so far. But with these last few minutes approaching, more back markers ahead, opportunities or risks to be taken. We'll see if we can make a final manoeuvre here and try and get a race win, because we've been close on occasions here, and Buckmore would be a suitable place for me to try and get a race win. So running second, which I have had a second before, but I did also get penalised, so it didn't really count. But as you go nicely up the inside there of that back marker, but we lose a lot of ground. See how much Anwar's pulled away there, so it's really in the clear here. Still got lots of back markers to deal with, so who knows really what's going to happen when we get to there. But just trying to drive it as cleanly as possible, because I don't I still haven't really looked behind, so I don't know if there's anyone close enough, but I'm trusting myself that I'm braking late enough and running through the corners fast enough that it doesn't give anyone an opportunity to try and get the inside, which is obviously the biggest concern, because if someone sends up the inside, I'll be not best pleased, just because I don't want to lose position. But so we're looking at 3 back markers now, 34 seconds left on the clock, so it should say final lap when we come back round, I would have thought. But, or unless it already did. No, it couldn't have. I would have noticed it. Hopefully it didn't. You can see here, and was just at an alt position. He didn't go for the send into this right hander, which I would have done. I think it felt like at that distance, but he goes for the classic send at Garda. And I just don't quite get far enough alongside this fella. He lets me through, fair play to him, but you know, if I'd managed to sweep through there and keep that momentum up, I really think I could have got, well, gained a lot more time here on M1, maybe put him a bit more under pressure, but didn't quite get the right run, so we're a bit further behind, and well, something to dodge right at the end. But yeah, and you see I went slightly defensive into hairpin 1 because I thought I got a compromised run there if Alex got a better run. Actually, I think, yeah, Alex, yeah, that's it. When I came out of that corner, I then pulled left a little bit just to sort of deter anyone that was on the side. I didn't see anyone, but I tried to deter anyway. And I think when I did that, Alex had his bumper alongside my bumper, and I just ended up steering right down that straight. I didn't want to go that far left, but it just sort of, well, I think we hooked up, from what I remember, or hooked the bumper, sorry. But yeah, coming across line, and one unfortunately gets a little bit away, but we only finish 8 temps, I think it was, the final gap. So really good for me. Like, I'll happily take a second. And yeah, park it up. Good race. Really happy with that result, and well, it does get even more exciting in race 2, I have to say. But for the good or bad, I'm not too sure. But you'll see when that comes out. Hopefully soon. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you on the next one.